Joined by Andhra Pradesh former Chief Minister Jagan Mohan Reddy. Sir, thank you so much for speaking with us. Sir, yesterday in Pulivendula and Vontimitta, there was a lot of violence that took place, a lot of ruckus that was created. You also kept a press conference. You've challenged Mr. Naidu as well. Based on your reports that you've seen, what do you want to say?
See, ma'am, this is probably the first election that probably the state would have witnessed wherein you don't have a polling agent in a booth. See, it is a by-election for ZPTC covering Pulivendula rural mandal. You have almost 6 panchayats covering 15 booths, covering 10,600 votes going for polls. In these 15 booths which are there, the most unfortunate thing is there is no YSRCP agent seated in the booth. This is the first election where you're conducting an election without the major opposition party having their agents in the booth. What has happened to Form 12? Why is it that these people were not able to get into the booths? And what is the sanctity of conducting these elections without the polling agents of YSRCP party in the polling booths? See, you have literally blocked people from entering the booths, which is the most unfortunate thing that could ever happen. In fact, every booth which was there, in fact, it all started off with, I've just narrated the whole sequence.
Yes.
In fact, the panchayats, if you were to see, usually you make sure that the people of the same panchayat vote in the same village. That has always been the case in earlier elections also. This is the first time where these people have shuffled the booths. One village people are supposed to vote in another village, and people from that village are supposed to come and vote here in this village. When you're conducting voting in this village, why are you shifting these people, some section of these people, to move from here and go there? And why are you asking people from that village to come and vote here in this particular village? That is the shuffling which took place, where people literally had to walk, in some cases 4 kilometers, in some cases 2 kilometers, to just exercise their franchise. Rather, the situation earlier in earlier elections was that they were casting their own votes in their own villages. So you intentionally made sure that there is confusion created, and people would have to travel from one village to another village to go and vote. And in between, you stop these villages from actually going there and casting the vote. So it's all a pre-planned story which took place. All the cops who were there literally were handpicked. The DIG, the DSPs, and the CIs, all of them were literally handpicked officers. And almost 700 of these cops, along with all these 15 booths which were there, you have outsiders. More than 300 people encamped at every booth. Outsiders, and police permitted them. All of them literally were they're available to the media glare. Everybody who walks into those villages will see big shamianas there, people actually cooking and eating. All of them outsiders. What are they doing in the villages? More than 300 people, 400 people in every village. Outsiders stacked there. And these people don't permit any of the villagers to go inside. They are snatching the voter slip. They have not permitted the election agents, polling agents, to be seated in the booths. And cops have literally facilitated the whole thing, making illegal arrests, beating up people, and while on the other side, literally helping the Telugu Party sympathizers to do whatever they want to do.
So are you alleging there was major, discrepancies when it came to voting in Pulivendula and Vontimitta yesterday? Are you asking for a repoll?
Yes, ma'am. In fact, In fact, my presentation earlier, you were also party to it. You were also part of that presentation with detailed videography, with photographs. I had explained to you of various incidents which have taken place. In fact, I'd appreciate you showing those clippings also for for a better understanding of what has actually taken place.
You're not the first leader, and especially former chief minister, to come out saying that there have been discrepancies when it comes to voting. In fact, you have a leader of opposition there, Rahul Gandhi, also talking about vote chori. You've also ascertained the same earlier on during the assembly elections as well.
See, this is State Election Commission. This is a separate story. As far as the general elections are concerned, what Rahul Gandhi has been talking about, this is a separate story which talks about Central Election Commission. So the State Election Commission, the way it has been conducted is totally different from the way the Central Election Commission and the allegations on Central Election Commission are. See, this is a separate thing. This is totally, people are not permitted to be even polling agents into the booths. They're not permitted to walk into the booths. Voter slips have been taken, and a lot of cycling of votes which have taken place by these very the goons of the Telugu Party which have done. This is a separate way in which they've done. As far as that is concerned, that's a different story, where the primary allegation is that the kind of vote increase which have taken place versus the figures what they have spoken about before after the completion of the election versus the figures what they have spoken about when the counting date has come in. And in the state of Andhra Pradesh, there's a 12.5% increase to the numbers that have been divulged. So almost 48 lakh votes have been that have been increased. And in several cases, with examples, we have also given in presentation to the Central Election Commission. The last time we had gone and we said, these are the constituencies, few of them which have been highlighted for your reference, where you could see for yourself the number of votes which have been added. 2009, 14, and then 19, and then 24. And then the difference between 2019 and 2014 to 19, not big a change. 19, but when it had come to 2019 to 2024, the change was huge.
Right.
And entire votes which have been, where the increase has taken place, if you see the 2014, 2019 and 2024, number of votes scored by each party, number of votes versus number of votes scored by each party, our party remained the same. But the increase in votes, en bloc went to one single other party, which is unfortunately here in this case the Telugu Party. So this we said is definitely what Rahul Gandhi is also trying to.
You also talked,
say
you went to Delhi, you went and met and submitted a memorandum to EC regarding the same, whatever happened in assembly elections. But today we made an interesting comment saying Revanth Reddy, Chandrababu Naidu and Rahul Gandhi are all in cohort with each other. What is your meaning by that?
So not only me, if you were to ask anybody in the state, it's an evident fact to everybody in the state. Why is it that the Congress spokesperson does not speak of Chandrababu Naidu's versus he speaks of me? Whereas right in front of everybody's eyes, you see so much of blatant corruption which is taking place in Andhra Pradesh. Every nook and corner of every village, you actually see a belt shop. Right beside the school, right beside the temple. In every village you have an illegal belt shop, auctioned by the governor, illegal auction taking place. Cops literally supporting the belt shops. Prices of liquor sold there is beyond MRP. So is the same illegal permit rooms, where prices of the liquor sold in permit rooms are beyond MRP and they're illegal. Right in front of everybody's eyes, you see this kind of corruption taking place in Andhra Pradesh. You also see the massive looting in terms of sand, in terms of laterite, in terms of silica, quartz, every mining property which is there. There's a systematic corruption which is taking place. We brought in mobilization advance, where you're giving 10% advance as mobilization advance, you're taking 8%. In Amaravati, the cost per SFT is more than 10,000 rupees per SFT. Whereas you go to Bangalore, Chennai, or Hyderabad, any of these places, even if you were to construct a flat with a 5-star lobby, 5-star residential complex with 5-star lobby, the cost of construction would not be more than 4,500 rupees. Whereas here in Amaravati, the cost of construction is 9,000 to 10,000 rupees per SFT. And such has been the corruption going on. They spoke about PPAs, what we have done at 2 rupees 49 paise, and they made a hue and cry. Whereas now the PPAs that these people are entering into at 4 rupees 60 paise. That is the kind of massive corruption which is currently happening in Andhra. Yet the Congress spokesperson does not speak about TDP. He's the national spokesperson. He's also Andhra in charge. That person's name, I think Manikyam Tagore. Manikyam Tagore, you should ask him. He doesn't speak about Chandrababu Naidu. He only speaks about us. Why is it so? And similarly, Rahul Gandhi, when he speaks about all this vote chori, he doesn't talk about Andhra Pradesh. Why is that so? He doesn't speak about Kejriwal. Kejriwal, who actually lost his own election, assembly election. And there were also allegations, similar allegations there. He doesn't speak about that. He doesn't speak about Andhra Pradesh state. The Manikyam Tagore does not give comments on Chandrababu Naidu. Why? Because there's a hotline between Rahul Gandhi and Chandrababu Naidu through Revanth. It's pretty obvious.
So you're saying Revanth still works with Naidu?
Absolutely. It's everybody's knowledge. If somebody is so naive that they can't see what's happening, then somebody should be termed as naive.
Will you go to the courts now for this Pulivendula and Vontimitta elections?
Absolutely, ma. We will be approaching the court. In fact, all this evidence that we've spoken about. See, how can an election be concluded without the polling agents in the booths? You have no Form 12. You have no Form 32. Form 12 is supposed to be produced in front of the presiding officer before the election starts. And Form 32 is something that needs to be taken where after the polling is over, the polling agent's signature is a must. So neither do you have Form 12, neither do you have Form 32, neither do you have YSRCP's polling agents seated in the polling booths. And you have multiple complaints with videographs clearly showing how the entire electioneering was rigged. So many people complaining that their voter slips have been taken away from them. They are not being permitted to walk into the election room to cast their vote. I mean, with videographs, with photographs, with all these evidences, I've given a presentation, and all these things would be displayed in front of the court as well. And if somebody forget about TDP, forget about YCP, today they are in power, tomorrow we will be in power. But if we do not stop this, then democracy would go for a toss. Democracy is being heckled here, where a major opposition party is not permitted to get into the booths. And the cops are literally encouraging outsiders of one party to be positioned in those villages, more than 200-300 people seated there, positioned in those villages, literally permitted to threaten the voters. And cops themselves are party to it. I mean, this kind of practice, if it were to be permitted to take place, forget about who's in power. Democracy is being heckled, and democracy would stoop down to another level if this were to be not curtailed.
Right. Thank you so much, sir. That was Andhra Pradesh former Chief Minister there, Jagan Mohan Reddy. In fact, he goes on and says democracy is being heckled in respect to the violations and altercations that took place at the Vontimitta and Pulivendula elections as well. Talking about vote chori at centre, he goes on and says there's a direct hotline between Revanth, Rahul and Chandrababu Naidu. With video journalist Prasad at Amravati, Apurva Jayachandran, India Today.